so my face is just so freaking crazy bright. There we are. That's better.
Rick, you want me to make you a coffee?
Yeah.
I thought you might.
Okay. Here we are. Now, why are you flipping? Stop flickering. We're getting the flickering thing. All right, and what I want to get is I want to get a copy of that.
Oh, look.
What?
Someone says, hey, Rick and Deanna.
Hey.
Who's Mr. 2?
Mr. 2.
Who is Mr. 2? It's got to be somebody we know. We are so new to this live streaming thing, we really don't know what we're doing.
Right. And that way I can see what I'm doing here. You know, I've got my outline here.
Yeah. Oh, this is Kyle. Oh, hi, Kyle. What's up?
Hey, Kyle.
He says, Brett says you can go back to the main scene. So
when I do that, go back to main?
Yeah. There we go.
All right, that's good.
There you go.
And then if I do handout, oh, it just pops right up now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
So nice, yeah?
Yeah, okay, good.
Good.
Good. I can slide
Seth
over.
Cole, hey Seth. Hey Seth. This is so cool.
I'm backwards.
Yeah, you're backwards. You're so
I go
backwards.
this way to go that way and that way to go this way.
Yeah, but you know what? You've always been a little backwards.
Oh dear, I think I've been busted.
Yeah. So maybe it's working out.
Okay, it's working out.
Okay, I'm going to go make you a coffee.
Make me a coffee.
Okay, I'm gonna do it.
And close that door if you would.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Hi. Hi, y'all. I'm Rick Beresford, and as everybody knows, there's Seth Cole. Hey, Seth. We're gonna have fun with songwriting, and we'll get formally started in another couple of minutes. We have to let, people find out that I'm online, and they're going, oh, the songwriting thing. And so I do have this terrific handout over there that's going to, we're going to go through that in a minute. But right now, let's go back to the main. And what I've been doing is I've been teaching at the NSAI. I was one of the directors there for the Kerrville Folk Festival. I taught there. And I've been teaching at Belmont for 22 years, songwriting. So, I got a few things to share. And I can answer questions. We can wing this thing, partially wing it and partially give a lesson. So that's why I have this little deal here, because we can look at that and see what we might want to, talk about. These are all the topics that I do. And in fact, watch this. I can even make this even more smaller. There we go. So these are all the topics that I talk about. And so we can pick topics if we want to, and I can start with the top and work my way down, and or not. I've got my trusty guitar, beautiful Gibson. Lovely Gibson with a cutaway. It's a J45, very nice. I wonder if I should put it down a little bit and move back a little bit. Is that better? I wonder how this sounds. Can you hear me? Oh, it sounds good. Good. that's good because I've got professional microphones. I can show you one actually. This is a really cool microphone right here. Woo, look at that microphone. It looks so professional, doesn't it? It's actually a microphone made by a company called 3U. Just literally the number 3 and the letter U. 3U.com. And they're the guy's based in Australia, and he used to work for Neumann, and he got the schematics for the Neumann mics, and now he's having those made in China, and so those mics are like really, really high quality mics, and that mic that I just showed you cost, I think, $380, and it's a copy of the U58, which costs like $4,000, and it sounds fantastic. Anyway, thought you might want to know that, and bring it down a little bit so you can see a little. Oh, look at all the people that are on now. Oh, that's terrific. Let's see now. As you get on there, do I have to scroll down or will it show? Let's see. Sounds great. Veterans can apply to participate in CreatiVets here. Oh, I see. Right. Okay. Good. Good. All right. By the way, I am healthy and happy, and I hope all you guys are too. Right. It's hard to. I know you can't see my eyes because of my glasses. Ah, who wants to see those? Huh? Okay. Let's see. Maybe I'll just start with a song. I'll just sing you a song, and then I can talk to you a little bit how I wrote it. And oh, this would be a great thing. Let me show you something. I wrote this song with. Let's see, who did I write this with? Oh, I wrote this with a wonderful guy named Dale Deck, who has unfortunately passed away now. But when we wrote the song, he had an idea. See. He had an idea. Let's write a song about is your radio on? Meaning, like, you know, I'm feeling sad, and and we're just thinking, we're kind of brainstorming. We're going, is your radio on? That sounds really good. Is it a guy singing to a girl? And we go, yeah, that would work. But wait a minute, how is he going to be able to talk to the girl? I know. Let's make him a DJ. So he's a DJ who's just broken up with his girl and he really wants her back. So he's using airtime to try to get her back, right? So it started off, we had this chord pattern that you may recognize. So it's like, what's this song? And I'm willing, that old, to keep moving. I've been to come carry. That song. Well, we stole that chord progression. And what we did was we said, well, if it's a DJ, let's start the song by opening up and letting him know where we are and probably what time of day it is. So it started off, I'm down at the station, midnight alone, just me and these records. That doesn't happen anymore. And the clock on the wall. What would it have to be now? It would have to be me and these files, right? Me and these MP3s and the clock on the wall. Is somebody out there got her radio on? I'm playing these sad ones 'cause I'm feeling blue. I hope a certain listener feels the same way too. Hey, the lines are all open. Is your radio on? What's that? Is there somebody out there? Is she tuning in to me? With a signal that's strong, though she's 2 days gone, she could still pick up my frequency. That's a B section. And then here's another verse. So it's 2 verses, a bridge, and a verse, and it goes on like that. But rather than finish the song that way, I want to show you something. You know, later on in my career, I had a session with Craig Wiseman, and he was sitting in on our group at the what's it called, Douglas Corner. Oh, thank you, honey.
So.
Yes, I might even wake up.
You might.
I might even wake up. Look, my sweetheart just brought me this.
Hi.
Oh, it's Mary, Mary, Mary.
Hello, everybody. I might be chatting with you one day soon.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm a balladeer. You know, I like them ballads, right? So, and Craig was sitting in on in the rounds, and one of the things that he said was, he said, you know, I've learned to take all the ballads, because we know that we like to sit around and write ballads in Nashville, right? But why not try taking all your ballads and try them up tempo? And I knew that I'd ripped off that melody and that chord progression on this song, and so I thought, gee, I wonder if I could do it up tempo. Let's try it. And I tried it one way, it didn't seem to work, but then I have this 3-string capo, all right? And I'm going to put it on here. Now, I want you to know that my guitar is tuned down a whole step. So when I take this capo off, it's down in D. So I'm actually at a normal tuning here. I'm at an E tuning, which is normal guitar tuning. I'm going to take this 3-string capo, and I'm going to put it on here. And what it does is, there it is right there. And what it does is it gives a dadgad, D, A, D, G, A, D, right? Dadgad. It's actually E, but that's all right. And so you play it, because I haven't changed the tuning on the guitar, this is so awesome. I can play the chords like normal chords, but you get this cool effect. When I play these 2 strings here, this one and that one, like this, and it's kind of hard to see, but that creates a modal tuning. So there's nothing but 1 5, 1 5, 1 5, 1 1. So you can't tell whether it's major or minor. The only way you can do that is to add the 3. So if I put the 3 in, there's the 3. So now it's a major. And I can make it a minor by going down 1 and going. But the sneaky thing about this modal tuning is you don't know which one it is. It could be a major, it could be a minor. So it's got a lot of tension, a lot of good tension there. So I was messing around with this. See, I'm playing like a D chord, just a regular D, but I'm lifting the finger off the high E, so I get a modal. So I'm just playing these 2 fingers. That's a B7 suspended. You know, there's the B. I'm treating this right here as my new thing. So my new like back fret. So I can play a B chord, but I'm going to play it, which is a 7 B7 and a suspended 7. I'm trying to figure out how to aim this. And now I'm going to go to a G position, which is the 4. There's the 1, there's the 4, and there's the 5. And that's the Nashville number system. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first chord is the 1, then the 4, and then the 5. Right? So I was just messing with this. And I went, oh wow. I'm at this radio station, midnight alone, just me and these records, and the clock on the wall is somebody out there. I got the radio on, and I can even speed it up more, playing these sorry and sad songs as I'm feeling blue. I hope a certain listener feels the same way too. Yeah, the lines are all open. Is your radio on? Is there somebody out there? Is she tuning into me? With a signal this strong, although she's 2 days gone, she could still pick up my frequency. Here's one for you truckers. Call if you find a broken down heart on the highway tonight. Hey, the lines are all open. Is your radio on? Is there somebody out there? Is she tuning into me? With a signal this strong, though she's 2 days gone, she could still pick up my frequency. So if she's out there listening, call if you can. My mind's on the music, but my heart's in your hand. Hey, the lines are all open. Is your radio on? Yeah, yeah, the lines are all open. Is your radio on? Yeah, there's your radio. Turn it up, turn it up, yeah. Is your radio on? Here we go. So that's an example of how we turned a slow song into a fast song just by trying, just trying a, and I actually changed the key too. It was in the key of, it was up here in the key of G, and now it's in the key of E. And the beautiful thing about changing the key was, and this is an important songwriting tip for you all, is when you change the key of a song you're writing, it is going to force you to sing a different melody. So if you're singing a melody that's exactly like, let's take this off here. I'll take this off. And da 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 da. Okay, da 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 da. Now we put it on here, and da 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 da. It's too low. Da 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 da. It's just too low. So I picked another. I'm at this radio station, midnight alone, just me. Now I'm up there. Da 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 da. The lines are all open. Is your radio on? And another thing about the new version, and there's far fewer chords. It goes one, and then another one. In the original one, I changed the chord right there, but I'm doing 4 bars instead of just 2, and then I just go straight to the 4, which is a real simple chord. All Western music, as you probably know, is based on a 1, 4, and 5. 1, 4, 5, and that's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's the Nashville number system. So just 1, 4, and 5. All right, that's all Western music is based on that, and it's actually there's a reason for that too. If you're interested in that, the reason being, let me see, is there anybody talking? Anybody saying anything here? This is my first cast, so I'm learning how to. I need to pay a little bit of attention to the chat thing, but. Let's see, where was I? Oh yeah, the 1, 4, and the 5. This is kind of cool. I learned this from a guy at Berklee School of Music, and his name is Jack Perricone, and he has a great book that you can buy at the Berklee School of Music about. Here, I'll show it to you. It's called Melody in Songwriting. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of a hard reflection. There it is. Melody and Songwriting. It's by Jack Perricone. And although the book is full of, it's full of writing, of these things, which I don't read at all, but it has text that goes with it. And the text is amazing. It tells you wonderful things about how music works, And one of the things I learned is all notes. I'm going to give you a note here. That note has a bass note, which you're hearing, but it has overtones. Here's the first overtone. See, that's an octave, and then there's another one here, and there's another one here, and there's another one. Listen to that. You barely hear that one. It's dead. Anyway, so there's all these overtones that happen when you play a string. You have the big wave of the bass, but in between these big waves, you have these little waves going along with that big wave. Littler waves, right? And those littler waves are the overtones. So it turns out that in the Western scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, there are 2 notes that sympathize with this one better than any of the others. And the ones that sympathize, well, let's take the first one. The most sympathetic note is the 5. So the 1 and the 5, those notes, they love each other. They're on a constant love fest because they have a lot of overtones that are similar. So in the ear, it has a very nice texture to the 2 because of all these similar overtones. What we have is those 2 chords have a very mellow and happy and kind of sweetheart kind of relationship. Now, let's talk about the 4. The 4 is the rowdy teenager, right? The 4 has almost as many overtone similarities as the 5, but not quite. So the 4 fights the 1 just a little bit, just like a teenager, right? Or a 2-year-old. 2-year-olds aren't nearly as bad as the teenagers. So we'll make it teenager. So when you listen to like a Bruce Springsteen song, he uses the 1 and the 4 so much. And the reason being that he does that is because they fight each other a little bit, even though they get along. So if you listen to this, it has a much more combative relationship than this. See how sweetheart that is? Oh, they just love each other so much, these two chords. You throw that... Oh, that chord's going, Dad, I'm going to go out and I'm not coming back at 11 tonight. Give me the keys to that car. I got a date with Mary Lou, and you can't stop me. So that's the wonderful relationship of the 1 and the 4 and the 5. The husband, the wife, and the rowdy teenager. I could actually go on with that if you want, but and that could be for another time. Let's see, what are you gonna look at his head? Let's see, what are we saying here? Oh, just tuned in. Look at his head. Just playing. Okay. All right. Just seeing if you guys had any questions. I don't see like you do. That's okay. Good. I can keep going with this music theory if you want me to. It's just kind of streetwise music theory because I don't have any formal training. We can do. I can give you one more. There's another one that's really good, and that's the relative minor. All right. So let's go back to 1-4-5. I'm going to change to the key of G for this. All right. Let's see if I can get. It'd be nice if I were a little bit higher up. Let's see if I can raise this chair up a little. There we go. Oh, there we go. All right. Still getting used to being backwards here. So in the key of G, disregard this because I'm tuned down to D, so I'm actually in normal tuning. So this is E. All right. So we'll go to G. Now, as a songwriter, you want to know how many chords can I use if I'm in the key of G. Well, we know all Western music has the 1, 2, 3, 4, with the 4, and then the 5. So that's G, C, and D. Well, I know I can write a song in those. Hey, mama, take me back, and you want to get me on the track. Hey, mama, you act like a train. Hey, you want to get me riding in the car. You want to take me so dang far. Hey, mama, you're acting like a train. You know, the 1-4-5. But check this out. So we got 3 chords, but right away, if you know about the relative minor, we're going to add 3 more chords that work so well and harmonize so well with this 1. Watch this. Now, the relative minor of G, and they call it the minor, relative minor, is E minor. So what's going on here is we have the happy chord, G, and the relative minor, which is the unhappy equivalent chord. So if I wanted to, hey mommy, let's see, how are we doing it? Hey mama, riding in this car, you know you want to take me far. Hey mama, I went to the E minor there, right? Instead of going back to the G, I went to the relative minor. And it made it really sad suddenly, or angry, or angsty, right? So that's a really good trick. If you're writing a song and you're going, I want it to be sad right there, because I'm thinking, well, I want to set up the chorus, so maybe make it sad to create tension, right? Sad has tension, Happy doesn't have any tension. Da, 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 da. Okay, so I use that E minor to create tension right at the end of the verse, going into the chorus. So I'm using it on purpose to do that thing. So these chords create emotions, okay? Songs, let's face it, songs are all about emotions. If your song doesn't give you an emotion, it's not working, right? And that's one of the things we'll do in this series is make sure your songs have enough emotions to be enjoyable, all right? Because the more emotions you got, the more emotional it is, rather, the more entertaining it will be. And of course, that's to a point. You can get it so emotional that people don't want to hear it. But you know, so we have a ceiling, you know, but we want it to be high. You know, some famous songwriter said, I think Ralph Murphy told me this once. Ralph Murphy said, it was either that or Harlan Howard, maybe Harlan. I was lucky enough to know Harlan Howard, who's one of the greatest country songwriters of all time. He wrote Tiger by the Tail, and he wrote all the way up to Timber, I'm Falling. I mean, you know, he wrote 5 decades of hit songs. But he would hold court down at Maud's Courtyard, and he would sit in a booth, and all his followers would come in and listen to him talk. And he was just a great guy. And one of the things he said is, you know, a great songwriter always starts with the truth. But don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. And of course, we all laughed. So basically he's saying, you know, start with your truth, which is ultimately important. Start with something you really know in life. And then lie. You know? Because we want to take an ordinary experience and kick it up to where it's super entertaining, right? And we do that through physical writing, through images, through great details. We do it through an emotions and symbols, and also through conclusive statements, like dust in the wind. We're all dust in the wind. That's a very conclusive statement, right? So details, emotions, symbols, and conclusions. Those are the 4 songwriting elements that we have to work with, right? Yeah. So back to the relative minor. Hey, pretty mommy, are you waiting for me? I'm a good rockin' daddy down from Tennessee. So I could start that song. Hey, pretty mama, are you waiting for me? I'm a good rockin' daddy down from Tennessee. You can already see how much more tense that song is if I start on the 6 minor. Now that was a Steve Earle, a little bit of a Steve Earle song. Now, Steve Earle, when he broke into the country field, country music was still pretty strict back then, back in the mid '80s, and he, you know, he couldn't dare start a song on a minor. That was going to be you know, that's pretty sketchy. So he started it on a major scale. But you know, if he'd written it as a folk singer, he might have actually started the song on the relative minor, which is the E minor, right? So now we've got 4 chords. We've got the 1, 4, 5, and the relative minor of the 1. But wait. Does every major chord have a relative minor? Yes, they do. So, look at this. Let's go to the 4. Relative minor of the 4 is, let's go down 3. 1, 2, 3 half steps, 3 half steps, and there's the relative minor. 3 half steps down from the 1. 1, 2, 3 is E minor. 3 half steps down from the 4 is 1, 2 is A minor. So now we've got 5 chords that we can use in writing our songs. Well, we got one more chord left that we haven't tried, and that's the 5. What's that? Let's go down 3 half steps. Minor. Wow, that's the minor 3. This would be 3 in Europe. Because in Europe they use the thumb as 1. They go 1, 2, 3. So when you go to Europe and you order, say you want 2 beers, you don't do this. They're going to give you 3 beers. Because they automatically think the thumb is the 1. So when you order 1 in Europe, go 1, 2, 3. Little tip there when you're traveling. When you get through all this coronavirus or Camry virus, we'll figure that out later. Anyway, so now we got the minor 3. Oh man, what a great chord that is. So listen to this. I'm just going to do a series of chords and maybe jam on some melodies here. Minor 6. You know how us country people love to do the ballads. So that's the 1, and this beautiful minor 3, and then to the minor 6, and then to the 4, and then we can go back to the 1 if we wanted to, and then maybe go down to the 5, not down, but up to the 5. And then we have this little trick here on the guitar. That's A minor 7 with a little thing on it, and I can go just slide it. So now the perfect thing would be go. But I'm being lazy, right? I mean. It's really nice, a little country. And what that actually is it's the 4 against the 1. So here's the 1, and here's the 4. But watch this. We can keep our finger on our ring finger on the 1. Now I've got these 2 fingers open to go to do a 4 position. And I'm pedaling. They call that pedaling on the 1. I'm keeping the 1 going. I'm not going to the 4 on the bass note. I'm keeping the bass note on the 1. So you get this. That was a D with a. I played with my thumb a lot. Right? Those are little. So now we got 6 chords. Because of the relative minor, we've got 6 chords that we can use in a song without being very far off. We've got lots of similar overtones. In all those 6 chords, they all relate to each other very nicely, right? So that's a really nice thing to know, is those 6 chords are fun to play around with. Sometimes I decide, like when I'm writing, I'm going, we all start our songs in the 1, right? On the 1. But what if I were to start the song on the 5? What if I started it here? That would be different, right? Because we're always looking, we songwriters are always looking for ways to be different, but not too different. You know, we in the business, we like happy surprises. So when the listener hears our song, we want them to go, "Whoa, that was awesome! What was that? Wow, that sounded so cool! I wasn't expecting that. That's awesome!" Right? That's what we want. We don't want, "What was that? Ew!" Or as the Valley Girl will go, "Ow! My God!" Right? So we don't want that. We don't want that. We want happy surprises. So you can surprise someone by starting in the 5 when they're, you know, I got a and I wanna get with you. Wanna make it alive, don't wanna get with you. Wanna make it alive and alive. Wanna make it alive. Wanna I'm just making this up as I'm going, right? Getting inspired by the sound of the chords as they move. And also, because I've been writing for so long, I can anticipate with my voice what the chord is going to sound like. So as I'm going, da 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 da, now I know I'm going to go to the 1 next, so I'm anticipating what the note would be that would fit. Da 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 da. Now that's a very Mozart-y trick, is to start a chord with a note that doesn't fit the chord, like da da da. That note doesn't fit. That's an inharmonic tone. Da da da. But I'm going to resolve to the da. Da da. That's the 3. 1, 3. Da 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 da. Create a little tension because I'm already on this note. Keep that note going. Ba da 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 da. Isn't that cool? So you start on 1 chord, and you realize that note fits, da-da-da-da, that note fits great. I'm doing the 7th, the D7, da-da-da-da. But that note makes a suspended 3. Because, oh no, 1, 3, 1, 3. 1, 3. Well, the suspended 4, sorry. It's a lot of tension in that one, isn't there? Woo! Now I'm just playing the suspended 4. I'm not playing that would be the D, E. I'm not playing the E, which makes it a complete 4, like. So it sounds a little bit. This is the 4 over the 1, like we've been doing. But if I wanted to just create some massive tension, leave out the low note and just do the high note. Oh, I wanna be all of the time. Wanna be with you when I catch your rhythm mind. When I catch your rhythm in mind. When I catch your rhythm in mind. Nearly all the time. I wanna catch your rhythm in mind. Now I got inspired to that melody just by, oh, na, na, na. So I'm trying to find a note that, na, 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 na. Maybe the, na, 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 So as I'm writing melodies, I'm anticipating what chord it might be, like when I'm going, I want to go that, and I happen to know that that's going to fit the 4 chord really well. And there's that inharmonic tone starting at na 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 na. See how I'm going to inharmonic tones and then resolving to the harmonic tone of the chord. Na 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 na. I'd be recording all this because I can't remember for a minute what I've done, you know. So I always record. I have a little recorder on my, you know, everybody's got these things on their phone, right? I've got a, you know, an iPhone, and so we have a little thing on here called Notes, music notes. I just hit that, and there's the red button, and I hit that, and I just put this down and start recording. It's really wonderful, right? These things, I mean, look at all these ideas, song ideas I have there. A million song ideas. If I do that, you're getting this terrible reflection from the sun. Anyway, yeah, really nice. Nice to have that going on. So I guess over time you learn, like, you can start a melody, you can drive a melody from an a cappella melody, so just find your chord and go da 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 da, and then you can find the chords to that later, right? So you and ba da 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 da. That ba da da, that's going to be an interesting chord. Da da. Oh, there. Da da da. That's it. Again, that. Da da da. Again, I did that same thing where I did the inharmonic tone to start the chord. Da 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 da. The other thing I do is I can just let the feeling of the chords drive them, find the melody for me. So I'm going to put this 3-string capo back on because I just love this darn thing. I love that mysterious kind of that mysterious modal setting, that modal feeling. I love that because it's so dark and mysterious, right? Going to the 4. To the minor 6, down to the 4. Where did that come from? That could be a thing. Make me love you one more time. Let me love you like we did before. Yeah. Let me take you on my side. I'm just making up words as I go because To me, the melody and the chords and the feel of the song is almost more important than the words themselves. To me. Now I know, I'm in Nashville right now. I don't know where all you all are hanging out, but in Nashville, they say, what they used to say, I don't know what they say anymore, but in Nashville they say, the words are the important thing. The chords, who cares, right? Just get great stories. But I came from the rock world where the story was great, Jackson Browne, Neil Young, occasionally the Beatles had good stories. They always had great songs, but not always great stories. Rocky Raccoon, that's the story. I don't know. It's kind of a spooky little song. Funny as hell, but spooky at the same time. But when I came to Nashville, with a rock and roll chip on my shoulder. I'm going, I don't know if I'm going to go along with this story stuff that you're talking about. Let's see, which way is it going? Penny Lane, yes, Penny Lane. That is, now let me tell you about Penny Lane. Penny Lane is not a story song. It's a description song. It's a song that does nothing but describe a place. In Penny Lane there is a barman with an hourglass. It keeps a portrait of the Queen. It likes to keep his fire engine clean. It's a clean machine. Right? There's no storyline. It's just describing things. And that's one of the great topics that we'll talk about as these crazy little sessions go on. And let's see, we'll go and we can show you this thing again. These are some of the topics that, today we're talking about melodies and chords, just because that's kind of how it flopped out that way, it just flopped out, melodies and chords. But sometimes we can talk about the creative process. We can talk about the 10 songwriting elements, the 5 basic songwriting tools. What? I can't believe it. 5? Actually, there's less than 5 now. I've honed it down to 3. Because that's what we do, is we write stuff and then we cut it, right? So all these things, we're going to talk about great ideas and titles. We'll talk about rhythm and rhyme, which is a big, huge topic. We'll talk about emotions and lyric elements, physical elements, the emotional writing conclusive. Remember we talked about that earlier? And lyric and symbols, song form, song development technique, which is that this is what falls in that right there. Song development technique is the descriptive song, right? And in this case, it's the physical description. You can also talk about your heart. You can describe your heart. You can describe love. You can just say what love is. Like, please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and fame, right? That's not so much a story. It's a describing. I'm describing the Rolling Stones are describing the devil. And in his description, and they're very clever about this, and this is a trick for descriptive songs, is you can have an example of the kind of person I am. Like, remember it says like I created all these wars and I did this and that and and so he's saying, allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and fame. I've done this and I've done this and I've done this. So in those I've dones, you can have little bits of stories, right? And you might even be able to write a song describing somebody like the coronavirus. You can say, hey, I'm the coronavirus, and look the havoc I've wreaked on this, on the world, And you can create a little storyline within a verse, say,